Are you struggling with defining an in-memory job repository in Spring Batch? You're not alone. Many developers face this challenge, and today we're going to unravel the mystery together. I completely understand how frustrating it can be when your configuration doesn't work as expected. You want to use an in-memory repository, but Spring Batch keeps trying to create tables in your Oracle database. It's a common issue, and we're here to help. Let's dive into the specific question at hand. One user asked, "Why is my job repository definition not being recognized? And why does Spring Batch create tables in the Oracle database?" They provided their implementation, and it seems like something is missing. Sound familiar? Let's explore this together. So what could be going wrong here? When using Spring Batch, if the job repository is not configured correctly, it defaults to using the database specified in your data source. We'll break down the steps to ensure your in-memory repository is set up properly. And stick around. At the end of this video, I'll share a crucial tip that will help you avoid this issue in the future. To address the user's issue, the first step is to ensure that the job repository is correctly configured to use the in-memory repository. The user should check that the job repository bean is being picked up by the Spring context. Next, the user should confirm that there are no other job repository beans defined in the application context. Having multiple beans can lead to conflicts, causing Spring Batch to default to the Oracle database. The user should also ensure that the Spring Batch configuration is set to use the in-memory job repository. This can be done by checking the job launcher and job configuration settings. Finally, the user should review the application properties to ensure that no settings are forcing Spring Batch to use the Oracle data source. This includes checking for any data source configurations that might override the in-memory setup. Fun fact, did you know that Spring Batch was designed to handle large volumes of data processing? It's powerful, but sometimes it can be a bit tricky to configure correctly. Now let's look at the answers provided by other users. An alternative solution provided by a user highlights the importance of defining a job launcher bean. This is crucial for ensuring that the in-memory job repository works correctly. Now let's see a response from a different user. An alternative approach suggests extending the default batch configurer when using Spring Boot and @enable batch processing. You would override the create job repository method to set up an in-memory job repository. That's all for that response. Let's see what someone else had to say. An alternative approach suggested by another user is to extend the default batch configurer class. They recommend overriding the create job repository method to return an in-memory job repository using map job repository factory bean. Here's the tip I promised. Always double-check your Spring configuration files for any conflicting settings. This simple habit can save you a lot of headaches down the road. And there you have it. With these steps, your in-memory job repository should be up and running smoothly. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe for more tips and tricks on Spring Batch and beyond.